I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, had me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I'm just waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, no you matter what. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up, I'm just doing me, everything is on me, oh you matter what. Add it up, told her if it's all me, everything is on me, gon' back it up. Matter what, told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me, it's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck, country heart, I might cop a farm and go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold-hearted, now I'm back up. Keep it real, I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up.
Good evening. Good evening, Marie. How are you?
Fine. Good evening, Julius. How you doing today?
I am doing wonderful, especially since today was the last day of school and it is about to go down for our Christmas break. What about yourself?
Oh, I am so excited that today is the last day of school. That means I have to get up and take the kids to school in the morning, Monday morning.
I know that's right. I know that's right. Hello, Savannah. How you doing out there? This is Julius Campbell and Marie Jones, Ink to Ink, or Incarcerated to Incorporated. We are here every Friday, and we are excited to be before you. Why? Because we get an opportunity to represent returning citizens. That's right. We get an opportunity to represent returning citizens. And why is that so important? Well, because the narrative needs to be changed. There is a false narrative that when you get out, you automatically go right back. And we are two living examples that that is not true. Marie, how long have you been home?
18 years.
18 years, and I've been home now almost 4 years, and that killed those statistics, and we are definitely happy to do that. But we're not the only ones. There are many men and women who are successful, and they just don't get an opportunity to tell their stories. Why? Because stories matters, and when you tell your story, it helps to encourage others to know that if you made it, they can also make it as well. And what Marie and I do, along with Ink to Ink, Our Black Media, and also OAA Savannah, which stands for
Offenders Alumni Association, where we come to encourage, educate, and empower one another, because one person cannot do it alone. So I think that's very good. You can go ahead, Mr. Julius Campbell.
Oh, no, what I'm talking about, you following me, you on point. And at OAA, what we do, and incidentally, we have our meetings every other Wednesday, and we'll be starting back up in January. You are welcome. If you are looking for a safe space for you to share your story, a safe space for you to just kick it and be yourself, to get resources and encouragement, then OAA Savannah is the place to be. That's 8011 Waters Avenue. Again, 8011 Waters Avenue, every other Wednesday. We'll have the doors open for you. Just come and fellowship with us. But why are we here again? Marie and I, we just want to talk about our looking back so that we can move forward. Looking back at what? Some of the past shows that we have had, some of the past interviews that we have had. And we just want to recap, because if you had not had an opportunity to see them, then you can always go back to Facebook, which is Our Black Media, and also YouTube. But we're not the only two that are here to do what we are doing. We got some other people like Julius and AB. Marie, give shots out to our partners.
Yes, I would like to give shouts out to Mr. Julius Hall. Thank you so much for giving us this safe space to come and share our stories. And AB, who came up with the topic, Incarceration to Incorporate, who is, like Miko said, the show is looking back, moving forward. AB, he has 3 businesses, very successful. He was incarcerated, but now what? Looking back, moving forward. very successful. And so is Mr. Julius Hall. Looking back, and his motto is a debt paid is no longer a debt. So people, this is going to be a good show. Looking back over our shows that we have did, I want to first start out, Julius, if that's okay. I want to start out with When Felons Cry. Looking back, moving forward, Kia, Jess, and Suzanne, phenomenal women who wrote a book about when they were incarcerated. Not just that, Kia Jess, she's getting her master's degree. She once was on drugs, off of drugs, incarcerated numerous of times, but now you should look at her life and see her story now. Suzanne, she was on drugs, convicted felon in a federal prison, but now look at her now. She has her own painting business. She is phenomenal. So yes, Julius, I just, do you remember that show with those beautiful women?
Yes, I remember that. One of the people that we also want to give shouts out to is Melanie Mason, because she was the one that helped them to get that book out and to get their story told. So we also want to give a shout out to Melanie Mason for making it happen, providing that platform for those ladies to tell their stories. And not only did they just tell their story, they came out to OAA on a couple of occasions and just encouraged us and shared with others. So yeah, for sure, I remember that topic when those ladies came out and just began to tell us about how it was, not just on the inside, but the struggles that they faced before they even went on the inside. So ladies, I definitely want to say thank you. Hats off for sharing your story, because you are not the only ones going through or that had went through. There are countless women that are struggling, but your story, I believe, has given many of them strength and courage to be able to come out of what they were in.
I like that, Biko. So what about that show that we did, Conviction to Conversion? That was an awesome show. Also, Conviction to Conversion, which means, guess what? We were convicted once. The conversion part is how you come out of things. And I think we had on that, if I'm not mistaken, his name was Charles. We had him on, and he was telling how the way, his life when he was in the streets and he was a drug dealer. And then when he went to prison, and now I'm not going to say he found God, because God don't have to be found. He's always there. So, but anyway, he's always there. And so anyway, he started to, I say, come into the knowledge of God. And so it began to change his life. So I think that was a really good show also. Conviction
I love that title that we phrased, because we were, as you stated, we were convicted. We did mess up. We did have a bad past, but as we grew and matured, now we were converted. Whatever your faith may be, our faith just happens to be Christianity, but whatever your faith, you were converted to a mature, to a righteous, or to a better person. I remember when I wrote a bio for a TED talk that I did, and in the bio I said that I came home a better person rather than a bitter person. And so I myself was converted, if you will. And many of you who have not yet had an opportunity or a platform to tell your story, you too once were convicted, and now you are now converted, and you are living a positive, productive life. And we would definitely love to give you an opportunity to share your story, just like we did with Mr. Charles.
Yes, and then what about that show, Miko? Pipeline to Prison. Pipeline to Prison. So I would like for you to speak on that. Especially, I like when you speak on that to educate, because when I ask you about this so many times, when I say about the school system, Miko, you say that's the pipeline to prison, like to teach the children how to be. I just, can you elaborate on that for me, please?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will. It's called the school to prison pipeline. And what that is, to give you a layman's understanding, back in our day when we did something wrong, we got suspended, we went to detention. But in today's time, it's not like that. When kids do what they do, and those behaviors are not criminal behaviors, they're just misbehaviors. But nevertheless, when a child does what they do in high school today, they go from detention to, if it's worse, to juvenile, and then from juvenile to jail, and then from jail to prison. There is a pipeline, if you will. And what has happened, I'm happy to say, is that many organizations, many people have stepped up to be a hindrance to that school to prison pipeline. Even the Department of Juvenile Justice, they have some programs, Work Readiness Enrichment Program, or other organizations like Deep Center or Youth Intercept or Front Porch, Park Place, Park. There are many organizations that are stepping in and trying to be a deterrent or a hindrance to that school to prison pipeline. And so that's what we talked about. We wanted people to be aware of what was going on, because you know that most of our children, black and brown, were the ones that are going to detention, from detention to juvenile, from juvenile to jail, and from jail to prison. And we just want to do everything we can to make people aware of this, and also to reach out in hopes that they will help to deter others from following in our footsteps.
Ladies in lockup. I want to speak on ladies in lockup because, with me being a woman and I have been incarceration in prison, it is a lot of women that are incarcerated. When I say that, one day, I think at OAA, we had this where it is many transitional houses for men, but it's like 1 or 2 transitional houses for a woman. And I think that's not enough, because it take away from a woman coming home to her family, being productive again in society. So I think that DOC, Department of Correction, needs to look at that, of how we can take and do more of getting transitional housing for women.
You know, I love that opportunity. What's up, Bernard White? Good to see you with us, bro. I remember when we had that segment on ladies in lockup, I had a real dear friend of mine from Atlanta whose husband is right now incarcerated. Good man. You know, a lot of us, when we make mistakes and we get opportunities to rectify those mistakes, we are rehabilitated. We are transformed. And he is the epitome of that. But nevertheless, she came on and she shared her heart about how difficult it is for the spouse that's on the outside continuing in those relationships, because there are barriers that hinder communication and fellowship and relationship. You know, the outrageous phone call price that they have, or the things that they got to go through to go see them inside the prison. What up, Mike Kelly, tuning in from Tennessee? And so, you know, I love that opportunity for us to speak. We even had, if I'm not mistaken, Miss Kia, that her husband, well, they were
Richmond, Virginia. From Richmond, Virginia.
From Virginia. She came, stood by, you know what I'm saying, and was there when he got out. And now they're building life together. What up, Lula Sweet? Oh, what's up, Lula? And so, you know, I definitely love that ladies and lockup, because there are, hats off. I got a haircut so I can do this, you know. Hats off to my sisters that are holding it down for the men that are in their lives. You know, it's difficult, and we just want people to understand that, you know, it is hard, and they need to encourage our sisters when they're standing by our brothers. Now, it is also flipped. You know, there are some men that are standing by their ladies, you know, but we specifically entitled that segment Ladies and Lockup, because there are many women holding it down. And, you know, incidentally, Marie, let me say this too. Brothers, especially the churches, when you know that there is a lady that's holding on, waiting on her spouse, and she is a single parent and she needs help, you know, now I'm talking about positive, mature men. I'm not talking about those who about game and try to sweep in. No, I'm talking about, you know, positive, mature men. Their children, their little boys are in need of mentors. There are multiple organizations, and remind me to bring this up later too, Marie. There are multiple organizations like TIP, Talented Individuals with Power, that are having recreational activities on the weekend. A lot of young boys are out there, and we can't find men to come be a part of their lives. And so, listen, there are a lot of ladies that need us to step up. They need us to step up and be a help. So just wanted to bring that, again, I wanted to bring that out, that ladies in lockup was an awesome experience for me.
And Julius, now this is my favorite because I know that nobody can tell it like you can tell it when they say starting out wrong and finishing strong. That is that is what you like to say when we get ready to end the show. And I love that because a lot of people will take and judge you on your past, what you have done, and not looking at what you're doing at this very moment. Yes, we all mess up, but the difference between you and I is I got caught. And you saw my stuff and you saw what I did. You understand? But that is not who I am as a person. That's just a part of my life. And guess what? That's a stepping stone for me. It helps me step. It's a stepping stone for me. So, Miko, I would like you to elaborate on that also so eloquently, like you always do.
So eloquently. Well, I love that phrase. And actually, that phrase, I may have started out wrong, but look at me now. I'm finishing strong. The actual finishing strong, I was reading while I was incarcerated a book, and it was an awesome book. I'm trying to remember the author right now, and it's going to come to me. And the name of the book was called Finishing Strong. He has a series of books, another book called Point Man. And when I read those books, it just really changed my mindset. And so that's when I began to think about, remembering what happened. I did start out wrong. I'm not a victim. I did what I did and I was wrong. And so when I accept that and own up to that, now I'm responding to that truth differently. I'm responding to that truth by accepting what I did and trying to change the narrative. I want to share my story, not in a arrogant, prideful manner. No, not in any sense of the manner, but with humility. I want to be able to share my story with other young men and also older men in hopes that they won't make the same tragic mistake that I made or that that you made. And so when we talk about starting out wrong but finishing strong, we are simply saying don't hold yourself back by your past. A lot of people are already trying to do that. You don't need to help them. And so what I want you to do is to move past your past. Move past your past. And when you move past it, start doing brand new things, thinking brand new, living brand new. And when you do that, that'll open up doors of opportunities. And when those doors of opportunity are open, then you can go through those doors and network. Maria, I haven't shared this, but let me just share a little bit of things. Doors have opened for me as it relates to speaking. In Washington, Seattle, Washington, there's an organization called Fly Star, and started by a young man that was incarcerated, and his mother, also Mother Vanessa. And what they do is they provide an opportunity for artists, men that are incarcerated, to share art and do the things that they do. And so I love that. And so she has given me multiple opportunities to talk about where I was and where I am now and where I'm going. Not only that, but I've had opportunities to speak with a TED Talk. There was a TED Talk that I did that is now going viral on YouTube and Facebook, and it is about a story that others may hear, and hopefully it will transform their mindset and their lives. Other opportunities to speak to colleges, and this one I definitely love. I was given the opportunity to speak to a criminal justice class in college in Atlanta, and also in Kennesaw, if I'm not mistaken, and in New York. And so these opportunities are what I pray for, because what I'm trying to do is to represent in the best way that I can, represent returning citizens, because we must change that narrative that we can't be changed.
I like that. That was so grown, man. There's no other way to put it. That was so, you know what you guess what, you had helped me. You helped me when you said change the narrative the way you see you. It don't so much be society at times. If your thinking is still the same, you messed up.
Yes.
We hold ourselves bound and prison in our own minds sometimes.
Mhm.
Go ahead on, counselor. I know you're a preacher, so I ain't gonna even say nothing about that. But go ahead on, counselor. That's another certificate. D,
True.
I know you listening. I know your wife listening on. She's back in the background. D, that's another topic. I ain't gonna start right now. But go ahead on, preacher.
But you know what? Today I was nominated, and I was blessed. I was nominated for an award, Impact Community, and it was
Mhm.
by, you remember the Credible Messengers?
Mhm.
We went, you and I went to
Mhm.
Atlanta. We went through that training.
Mhm.
Credible messengers are men and women who have lived experiences, and they've
Mhm.
gotten out of prison, and now
Mhm.
they are doing positive things. Their witness
Mhm.
is now credible enough for them to go into schools, jails, juveniles, or prisons. And so,
Mhm.
given an opportunity, excuse me, an opportunity to be nominated for some of the things that not just me, that we are doing in our community, and so, like you, Marie, a credible messenger as well, a mother,
Mhm.
and you are a mentor, and you are
Mhm.
out there in the trenches. Remember that we got to do that one, but you
In
are
the
out,
sense. Mhm.
young women, how to succeed, learning from your past, your lifestyle. Some of our conversations, we have made some successes, but honestly, too, there have been some challenges with some of the young people that we have tried to reach as
Right.
well. But again, when you are doing positive, we are successful.
I love that. There is always hope.
Uh,
That's another show we did. See, you have to follow up on that. There is always hope. Hope is a powerful thing.
mhm.
Hope is a powerful thing. I mean, I know no one can say it like you, Miko, but hope is a powerful thing for a man to hope. A man, I'm gonna speak on Julius for a minute. A man who had, may I speak on you for a minute, Julius? A
Yes, you.
man who had a life sentence. He did 26 years. Came home. Guess what? His mindset. He changed his mindset in prison. He came home hitting the ground running and doing everything positive. Not that he didn't have any hiccups. When I say hiccups, don't get it twisted. Don't let your mind be twisted. When I say hiccups, as far as like he had his brother, he made sure he had a job, housing. You understand? Things like that. When people run your background and they say, no, you can't live here, it didn't make him back up to make him say, well, I'm not going to do what I already promised that I was going to do when I was in prison. Because a lot of us say, well, if God helped me get out of this mess, I'm not going to do this anymore. Then when we get out of the mess and God allow us to get out, then we still do the things that we promised him that we're not going to do. So there is always hope. Hope to do better. When you hope to do better and you start changing the narrative, and Miko said, in your mindset, doors will begin to open. I like that. There is always hope. Go ahead, Miko. Speak on it.
I want to say something on that. When I was incarcerated, I asked this question to the chaplain, and the question was, in the time frame that he had been a chaplain, and I just gave it a time frame of 10 years. So I believe at that time it was like from 2001 to 2011, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere around there. But I asked him, I said, do you believe that hope is deteriorating? And he thought, and he really couldn't answer that question. But I answered it because while I was in prison, remember, I went in 1993 and I got out in 2019, if I'm not mistaken. But I saw degradation, I saw depression, and I attribute it to hopelessness. You could see the hopelessness in the men. One time there was a lot of hope. I remember, because I'm a man of faith, I used to go to church a lot. Even those that were in Islam, they were stacked up in the for their Islamic services and Jehovah's Witness services. So you could see a level of hope. I'm going to go home. I'm going to do better. But when things begin to change and policies begin to come up that were not conducive or beneficial, I would say. People were making decisions without even realizing the harm or effect that it had. But I begin to see that there was a level of hopelessness pervading or permeating the prison system. And that is why I believe that violence has escalated exponentially. You see it on the news, you hear about it through many different media outlets that prisons are off the chain, pun intended. And so, and I think that is because hopelessness is pervading, and we need to see what we can do to restore hope back into the system. And that's one of the reasons why I want to go back in a positive chaplaincy role, not a criminal role, but in a chaplaincy role. I want to go back. Incidentally, I got my certification as a chaplain, and I just want to go back and just let my brothers and sisters know that, you know, it's not over.
Right. I like that. And the next show is that'll go on what you said about there's always hope and it's never too late. We
Oh,
did a
it's
show, it's never too late.
I remember that. I believe we had Mr. Anthony on at that, and he's doing really well. He has multiple businesses, and he came out to our OAA class or session, and while we were there, brought his food truck out, and we just enjoyed that night,
Yeah.
just eating, fellowshipping, telling stories. As we always do. And so it's never too late, however many years that you have done, or whether it was 3 years, 20 years, however long, it's never too late for you to continue to grow and be the best you that you can be. And so I'm just excited, to hear those stories, to provide the platform for those that have been incarcerated for many a years. And now look at what they're doing, their own businesses. They are positive and successful in their relationships, in their occupations, in their organizations. There are many ways that we can measure their successes. And so it's never too late.
I would like to say I really, really enjoy when we did I really
What's
I
wrong?
really, really I'm sorry. I really, really enjoy when we did the visual and verbal. I
Wow.
really, really enjoy visual and verbal, and especially having those 10 young men that were there with us, and for us to take and for them to hear us, and for us to hear them. You understand? And so how we had different organizations, the hospital and everything to come, how we took them to Campbell Funeral Home for them to see and for them to hear the director of Campbell Funeral Home talk to them about gun and gang violence and how it affects not just them, but family members, your loved ones. And so, Miko, you can speak on that about the kids that we had with visual and verbal.
What up, Ambassador? I see you ride with us, boy. We just got through talking about you too on Love and Lockup. But listen, verbal and visual intervention. I loved it, man. Our partnership, first of all, Marie, myself, and Paul and Fred, we came together. And while we were together, we were able to reinforce the mentoring message. What do I mean when I say reinforce the mentoring message? Our young people today, their attention span is short. And so what we want to do is not just talk to them, but we want to also show them. And so that's what we did. We told them that African American youth were dying rapidly and at a alarming rate. And so that's telling them. When we took them to Campbell and Sons Funeral Home, we were able to show them that by allowing the pallbearer and the manager to tell the stories of the data. Data is what helps us to reinforce. Then we, as you stated, when we brought in Miss Burnside, she came in from Memorial Trauma Unit and told us exactly what was going on in the trauma unit. They didn't just hear it, they were able to see it. And also we brought in two mothers who lost their loved ones as a result of gun and gang violence. Hearing the story, but seeing the intensity, the passion, and the emotions from the mothers. And we know shouts out to John Bush and Isaac and Miss Lott, Neighborhood and Safety, for giving us the opportunity, the city, giving us the opportunity to present that and to bring it forth. And I just love verbal and visual. And we're going to get an opportunity to do it again and just be an impact on our young people today. So I definitely enjoy that opportunity.
Okay, I want to say resources and reentry. We give a lot of resources and a lot of resources when you come to our OAA meetings. We have people there who can furnish you with jobs. We try to have resources there if you need a place to stay, resources of how you can go get your ID and birth certificate for free, especially when you're coming home from prison. You may not have the means of getting a job so fast because you need identification, you need your birth certificate, your social security card. So we have a lot of different resources there for you and people to speak to try to help you. Go ahead, Nico. You can speak on that.
I love that. No, we don't just talk about it; we be about it. OAA, has been blessed to have some funds from others who believed in us, and because of that, and with those funds, we were able just this week, OAA Savannah, Marie Jones, Julius Campbell, Fred Green, we were able to take well, he's not young, he's about 60, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. A brother that just got out after 7 years came here from Statesboro. Now he's located in Savannah. Didn't know anything, didn't know anyone, but we came around him and we were able to provide those resources. What type of resources? Well, Miss Jones just told you, you can't get a job without an ID. And so we were able to help him to go and get his ID. What else did he need? You need clothes. You can't go get a job with your prison garbs on. So we were able to provide clothing for him. What else? Some of these people don't really understand in the reentry world. Communication is what we need. So you got to have a phone. We was able to go out and purchase him, OAA Savannah, purchase him a phone so he'll be able to connect those dots that he needs to connect. And then we not only did we do that, but we were able to help him to get in a assisted facility living place. So I am excited that, Marie, we started this thing out with our own money, helping people, and now we got a chance to get the help of other resources to provide. Right. And we got the videos and the photos. We're going to have them on Facebook this weekend so you can see the transformation of this young man. So, Marie, I'm excited about these resources, and not just for adults, but also for young people. Miss Spalding and Mr. Marlon Knight, Tree, Miss Kathy, they came alongside us as we were able to provide resources for young men and women as well. So I tell you, I am excited about what OAA Savannah has been doing in 2022.
Yes, in the trenches. And I go to in the trenches because you call out Marlon Knight. Guess what? I'm not saying nobody else is not in the trenches, but that Marlon Knight, he is really in the trenches when it come out to those kids. He really is in the trenches with them because he talks to them, he mentors them, he want to make sure that they're safe. I'm not saying that no one else does, but I just know that Tree is so consistent when it comes to those babies. He really is. He's like Miko just said, we don't talk about it, he be about it. Because a lot of people talk about what they're going to do for the kids, but when it's time to be there for them, you don't send it, but you will see Marlon Knight there. You will see Tree there by their side, telling them, come on, do what's right, taking them over, pulling them aside and talking to them. That's what those kids need. They need somebody to not just talk to them to say what's right, but show them love, because that's what a lot of them just, they lack. That thing of called love, Miko, because when we took and we had the visual and verbal and we told those young men that we were proud of them, one young man almost made me cry. He said, nobody has ever told me that they were proud of me. Tell your children that you're proud of them. Even when they're being knuckleheads, tell them that you're proud of them. So, Miko, you go ahead and speak. And tip organization, Angela, y'all take and donate to Angela Brantley. Donate, because she is in the trenches also when it comes to those children. She goes, she speaks for them. That's what these babies need a lot. They need people to speak for them, and she speaks for them. She's there for them. So when she come on and say that she need a certain amount of money, she's not getting it to pocket it for herself. She's getting it for these children to be able to help them, to be able to feed them. A lot of kids don't have food at home. So that's what Angela Brantley's doing. She's being a provider for them. When you can't be, she's there to help. So go ahead, Julius Campbell. You go ahead and take it away.
What up, Tony Raymond? I see you, boy. You're watching us all the way from Hinesville or Guyton, one of those spots. But listen, my boy Tree. I telling you, my boy Tree. I love my partner, and many that are in the trenches. Fred Green, also Martin Smith. Also, we have a couple of people that I've been seeing in other spots, like my boy Morris Pollard. He's doing some things, in the Isaac Felton in the trenches, even before he got the job spot he's in. John Bush in that spot as well. There are multiple. Miss Yolanda and her organization and outreach, or Yolanda from Harambe House. There are so many people that are out there in the trenches doing their thing, but they just don't have the notoriety, or they don't have the pocketbook, and we just hope that those of you that you will begin to start being intentional about hearing and seeing those that are in the trenches, because they need help. We need help. And so, hats off to all of you that are out there doing what you're doing.
Very good. In the trenches. So Miko, we're gonna wind this thing up, and I just want to say that I really appreciate my co-host, my colleague, where I can come on and share my stories with you all. It is in the trenches. I know y'all may not see this or know this, but I will help anybody. But I'm really helpful when it comes to those kids. It says a lot, especially the young man named John who stays around the corner from me. I know I get on his nerves, but when I see him, I make him go home. Yes, I do, Miko. I put him in the car and I'll take him home. Because, I don't want him to, Miko, something happened yesterday. I know you don't watch the news a lot, but a young man killed a 19-year-old 4 o'clock yesterday on her job.
Wow.
Shot her in her head, Miko.
Wow.
And she's gone. Rest in peace, baby girl. That is sad. We take and we try. Miko tried. Mr. Hall tried. A lot of people that Julius just called out, Mr. Bush, we're trying. But it takes a whole village. For one child, it takes a whole village. So when Julius say, man, we need you, Angela got this organization. We need you all to step up. Stop dropping the ball, man. We need you to be grown men to step up for our young people, because they need that. They need to see that somebody care for them.
Yes. You know what? Not just we've been looking back as we state, but we also finna move forward. And so before we get ready to get out here, let's just talk about some things that we are looking forward to. And I always want to bring up, as we speak about Angela, I want to bring up Minister Brooks. Another man that has been in the trenches.
Yes.
Chaplain Welcome, another man in the trenches. And I know Minister Brooks, what they're doing right now in their church, they are training themselves to be mentors, and we've connected them with Angela Brantley and the TIP organization, so that they can be there to help out on those Saturday recreational days. And so, but what we are looking forward to here at Ink to Ink, and also Incarceration to Incorporation, Verbal and Visual Intervention, and OAA Savannah, some things that we are getting ready to pop off starting in the new year, God's will. As we get ready to start our meetings back up, we are getting ready to get out into the community. And as we're out in the community, we are going to make your voices heard. If you have a story that you have not yet told, we want to provide a platform for you. We want you to tell your story, because again, your story is important. Your story matters. So I definitely want you to reach out to myself, to what up, Kevin Spice? I want you to reach out to us so that we can share your story, because you do not need to keep your mouth closed. God is giving you a story, and that story is to encourage others. When they find out what you went through and how you made it, that will boost them or push
That's
them
right.
to make it as well. So we're going to be out in the community. We're going to be out at near the churches, the homeless shelters. No, we got to change that name up, because I know Chaplain Welcome called them our friends and neighbors. But we're going to be out, in the community, giving you an opportunity to speak. Also, what we're going to be doing here at OAA is verbal and visual intervention. We are getting with some more young people, young men and young women, and we are going to again reinforce that mentoring message, not just with words, but also with illustration. That's how we capture the attention of our young people. So you want to be a part of verbal and visual, by all means, we're going to be reaching out to these different organizations. Something else that we're going to do with Ain't the Ink. Ain't the Ink is getting ready to move out into the TV world with Roku TV. And so we look forward to that. So as we started getting into 2023, reach out to us so that we can help get your message out, because your message is important. Marie, any other thing that I might have missed that we're moving forward towards?
You summed it all up, Miko. I just want everybody to have a positive night. Do whatever it is that makes you happy, as long as you're not hurting anyone.
As long as you're not hurting anyone.
As long as you're not hurting
Hey,
nobody.
before we go, Marie, tell them that we're not going to be here. We're going to have our show next week. We're going to go off, take the Christmas break off. Tell them a little bit about that before we go.
We're going to take the Christmas break off, you guys, and we'll see you all, the Lord's will, in the new year. Okay, we're coming back stronger than ever. Stronger than ever. And we, like Miko said, if you want to take and share your story, you can reach out to Julius Campbell or Marie Jones, and we'll be delightful, or Julius Hall, and we'll be so delightful to have you on the show where you can share your story and it's safe. And you come to OAA 8011 Waters Avenue to share your story as well. And whatever it is that we can do to help you, to get you the resources and the things that you need, we will do it.
Yeah, matter of fact, we're going to put that information on for us. My lovely wife, if you will, J. Campbell at offenderalumni.org. J. Campbell at offenderalumni.org. One more time, J. Campbell at offenderalumni.org. I'll put my information out there, Marie, so they won't be calling.
It's so sweet. That's so good.
And listen, but reach out to us, and we definitely will. We want to hear your story. But before we go, I just want to close with this. But before I close, Marie, is there anything you want to say before we shut down?
No, that's it, Miko. You go ahead. You got it.
Okay. I want to just say this. At OAA Savannah, Marie already said it, but I want her to say it again. We do three things. What are those three things that we do?
We empower, encourage, and educate one another.
I love that. And that's what we want to do to you. Every show that we have, every time that we see you in the neighborhood, in the community, that's what we want to do. But we're not the only ones. There are other organizations, grassroots organizations, that are doing the same thing. And as Marie often said, we can't do this by ourselves. It takes a village, and that village is multiple people coming together with the same goal. And that goal is helping our brothers and sisters to have a smooth transition back into society. We got to do it. And how do we do that? We do that by making ourselves aware of what's going on. If you have somebody that's incarcerated, reach out to them. Whether it's a letter or however it is, check on your neighbor, check on your brother, sister, mother, father, or check on them and see what's going on, because they need you. And so when you're there and you're pouring into their lives, I'm not just talking about financially, I'm also talking mentally, emotionally. As you are pouring into their lives, they are preparing themselves, like Marie and I did. They are preparing themselves to be successful when they come out. And then they'll be able to say what we often say: I might have started out wrong, but look at us now. We're finishing strong.
That's right.
See you again next year. We love you. OAA Savannah, ain't the ain't. We doing this thing. Peace out.
Good night.
like that.